It always comes to this. Hello there guys, here to do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I had no doubt just showed off these leaves and the healed highlights on my face and the opaque, or rather smoke, silver in my roses on my head that I just added, which came out really cool. I had 2 sessions this week. Obviously, I couldn't show off the first session without showing off the second session because, again, on my face. So I'll just get right into it. We laid out my chest piece this week. It's super, super hard to see. Part of that is the fact that this hadn't fully lightened yet. But Rick is confident we can do this now. This is basically just the stencil that he's put on me. This is healed now, so, I mean, it's pretty light. It's pretty hard to see, even for me. He can see what he's doing. That's all that matters. But it's going to be real hard, I think. I think it's going to be a while before this is showing off the way that it will. I'm confident, though. I'm not skeptical about it. I think a lot of people are going to be skeptical about it. I think I'm going to hear from people on this video that think this is not doable, or this won't work, or whatever. But I have faith that it will be good. I'll put in the video what it will look like when it's done, or the theorized version of it. But for now, yeah, it is really, really hard to see. Shift certain ways, you can see the lines are there, but they're really, really faint. Now I'm going to get into part of why that is. It's not just because of the darker background that hasn't quite completely melded in with the rest yet. It's pretty close, but there are still some differences. But it's not actually that altogether on its own. It's also the fact that Rick and I used... It was his idea to try... He wanted to try Panthera Liner Black this time. We've never tried Liner Black before. He figured it's specifically called Liner Black, so may as well try and line some stuff with it, right? Well, I think we probably should have tried that somewhere else, because apparently Liner Black is lighter than XXX, or so they say. It's definitely thinner, so it goes in easier, but it's not as thick, so the lines don't show up as visibly. So probably not the best choice for somewhere that was already a shade darker. But Rick actually thought, when I told him that, when I found out that it was lighter, he actually thought that might be a good thing, because a lot of these lines are just guidelines for him anyway. And so long as he can see what he's doing, it doesn't really matter. So that was comforting to me, that he's sure he can do the work. But I think it's going to be really hard. I think this one's going to be really, really tricky. I always did think it was going to be tricky, and that's why I wanted to get... Like, some people were getting impatient with me about, when are you going to start the chest piece? When are you going to start the chest piece? Well, as I've said in these vlogs before, so this won't be anything new, I knew that once we started the chest piece, it's going to take anywhere from 10 to 20 sessions before it makes sense, or before it's good. So for the people who are questioning this, or haven't seen a lot of this progress as it's, or this project as it's in motion, a lot of this stuff looked really weak at first. You can go back to when I first did the spider eyes on my chest, the outlines. When they healed, they were very, very subtle. They were a little more there than this, but it wasn't much. None of this stuff started out being super visible. So you're in the extremes of things, and you're kind of just learning as you go. Now, if I could turn back time, I would have told Rick, hey, that Liner Black is, it's not going to be as visible as the XXX, so we should stay with that. But I I don't mind. I think we'll figure it out. I think we'll bolden it up and it'll be fine. Um, but it is going to be real thin and hard to see for now. So just bear that in mind as I'm talking about this. When I step back, you can still see the halo of the old chest piece actually much more clearly than the new chest piece lines that were drawn over top of it. And if we take too long, I have a feeling that parts of them will vanish altogether. So there is that. Again, I don't mind the way this looks in the meantime anyway, but we're going to need to get the reds and the whites and all the black shading in there pretty quickly before we lose the stencil. So again, part of why I wanted to get all of this done before I started the chest piece is because it's going to be more or less just working on the chest piece and a few weeks off here or there. The next week, Rick wants to work on the center of the eye some more, try some different colors, and maybe add a few more tentacles because this is not the full chest piece. There's going to be tentacles that drape up over here. There's already a few. There's one little tentacle, I'll show it off, that comes up over this eye here. So he's going to build the tentacle in front of the spider eyes. And then there's another tentacle that comes up over here. So we're going to have more of them sprawling out onto the shoulder in places. But yeah, just getting that on here Monday was difficult. It was hard to see the stencil. It always the hardest part of black on black projects is getting them on and starting them. The more work you get in there, the easier it is to do. So the first day, Rick's eyes were quite literally watering. Like his eyes were sweating while he was trying to get the lines done because he was focusing so hard. At one point, he put sunglasses on to see if he could dim the light and see it better. We tried ring light, no ring lights, one overhead light, a polarized like anything you can try and do to get better clarity. But yeah, you're working in the dark essentially, and it's been a while since we have, because everything we've been working on has been laid out now for a long time. So this was the first time that he's really had to work for it. And I think every session on the chest for the first few months is going to be like that. But I have faith that we'll get there. I'm going to more or less be just hitting it nonstop from here. Whenever there's something not healing on there, I'm going to be hitting it. I think what we'll probably do is we'll approach it in a way that will leave parts of it healing and parts of it not healing, so that we can keep bouncing back and forth and layering it in there, because it's going to take a while, like I said. So not to be demoralizing, I knew what this week was going to be. I knew what it was going to be. It was part of why I was a little bit anxious to start it, because I know what people are going to think. I like the subject matter a lot. I hope that people enjoy the idea that we're working with here. And even though it's not super clear to see it, I'll include a video here of it fresh where it was a little clearer. But once you can see where we're going with this, I think people will find it worth the journey there. But it is going to take a minute. It's not going to happen overnight. And so I knew in starting a chess piece, the way social media goes, the way people are conditioned to see tattoo work, a lot of people are going to be, oh, well, that's nothing. What are you thinking? Like, why you got rid of your chess piece for this? Like, that's going to be the way a lot of people approach this, even though I have a very clear track record of getting to the end of these things. A lot of people will just see an outline and they'll want the tattoo. That's not the way this kind of thing works. And that's part of why I think this can never be a trend either. Like, I've got a shot coming up here in the next week to black out my back in one session. Some people are against me blacking out my back. Some people are for me blacking out my back. Like, there's a lot of different thoughts on that matter. And whether I do that or not, the problem with me doing that is I'll want to do a new image over top of my back. And it's going to take a long time for it to mellow out to the point where I can cover it. Same as the chest. And so I'm still torn on whether I want to do that. Not necessarily at all, because eventually I do think that it's the right call to do that. Whether some people agree or not is not really the point. It's just I've got a lot going on already, and it's going to be a while before I can do anything else there anyway. So it might just be for the best to let that ship sail for now, because I'd rather be focusing on doing new sleeves and getting this chest piece and all the little projects that I'm doing with Terry in the meantime. But yeah, chest day, super easy. I could fall asleep during chest tattoos. I've had my chest tattooed almost more than anything else. It's been a while since I've had the chance to work on it, and I was actually looking forward to the session altogether. Not just for the new cool chest piece that's going to be there eventually, but also it's a really chill day for me, and I've been working on armpits, and armpits aren't so bad, but stomachs are worse. Sides, love handles, you know, the center of your stomach, all areas I don't really enjoy. All of those I consider more painful than the chest. I will say the only part of this that I do find painful is when we get into the top here near the throat. I find that a little bit painful, but the rest of it I find is pretty easy. So anyway, yeah, probably going to be adding some more tentacles in here, keeping them real flowing and kind of different. Like they're not going to be the same everywhere. It's going to kind of have a organic feel to it, much in keeping with the rest of the tentacles. And experimenting with some more color on the center of my torso here. And I think the week after that it'll be boldening up the lines and doing some of the shading, and yeah, just carrying on the chest. It's going to be a wild time. People are in for a long journey there, though. Just so you know, this is not going to be done anytime soon. So, hope people aren't too disappointed to hear that, but I'm a journey guy. Obviously, I get tattooed every week. I'm not too worried about the eventuality of it, but I do think that the barely there outline that people are going to have a hard time seeing or understanding right now, I think that's going to cause some concern for some people, but not for me. Anyway, if you guys have enjoyed this one, I'll be talking to you guys again soon and showing off more of the chest piece in development.